Welcome to Kingsbury Water Park near Birmingham for round 4 of the Powerboat GP Championship. With round 3 in Cardiff having been cancelled due to high winds, this in effect will be round 3, but not for the F2 Cats due to insufficient water depth. Which means the stars of the show this weekend are the Formula 4 Cats. Shorter, lighter, with only about half the power of the F2 boys, yet still capable of up to 85 miles an hour. And the current British and world champion is Scott Curtis. Scott, how are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you.
Now, how long have you been racing these F4 boats for?
Since 2006. I got forced into it.
This is the same boat, is it, that you've raced for all 6 years?
Yeah, same one.
Won the World Championship, I think, 2009?
Yeah, and last year as well, yeah.
So won the World Championship twice, and you bought it second hand?
Yeah.
For what sort of money?
Sort of reasonable, about 10,000 at the time, but you can get them cheaper now, so.
So what's the secret of your success then?
Just reliability at the moment. Drive it like you stole it.
What about propellers? People talk a lot about propellers. Is that a crucial part?
Yeah, that is probably the main part. You can have one and try and get one to copy it, but you'll never get one the same. I've probably got 5 or 6, but to be honest, wherever I go, I always end up using the same one.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've got one lucky propeller, one boat, one engine,
yep.
And you're a world champion.
Yeah.
And after the 20-minute qualifying session, it was the championship leader Scott who earned an extra point for getting pole position. With the results of 3 heats combined to decide the overall winner, every start is crucial. It's engines off, then watch for the lights.
The first race then for the Formula 4 SA50 catamarans then, and we are away on this triangular-shaped course here at Bodymoor Heath, Kingsbury Water Park in the Midlands. And you can see already it's going to be a quite busy turn at the top end of the racecourse. So into the first turn, everyone makes it safely round. And that's the most important thing. Here we go, round the turn and in through the island, through the trees, and that's the tightest part of the racecourse, but we'll tell you more about that as the race progresses. But in the meantime, everyone trying not to trip over everybody else in the early stages of this race. And Scott Curtis then is the man out in front. 61, Scott Curtis. He is a previous World Formula 4 champion. And the ever experienced Scott Curtis then leading the pack in this first race. Matt Palfreyman back after an accident at the last round at Carmill, where he blew the boat over backwards. But he's running in a strong second position here today. So Steve Holt then, we ride on board with Steve Holt in number 40. He too is actually probably Steve Holt, the most experienced Formula 4 driver out there on the racecourse today. He had some time out of racing, but decided to come back a few years ago and is still pretty competitive out there on the race circuit. At the moment though, Steve Holt being chased by Stuart King in boat number 70, and Stuart King deciding and opting for running the enclosed cockpit, and some of them run open and some of them run enclosed here in the Formula 4 race. It's optional, as two family members then, Robert Veers, the son of Paul Veers, and Paul, the father, then chasing hard, trying to get out of that last position. But it's Scott Curtis at the moment, the man from Norwich, making it look very easy out in front then. And Curtis knows that he's got a little bit of breathing space between himself and 77, Matt Palfreyman. Palfreyman chasing hard then through the island, coming down towards us. And it's a fine line. The drivers have to balance the boat with trim buttons on the steering wheel. The more of the boat out of the water, the faster it's going to go. And Matt Palfreyman knows exactly now where the limits of that lightweight Formula 4 hull is, because he found it out in the last round. So 77 in second position, but it's Steve Holt then who is in third place at the moment, chasing this man, Matt Palfreyman, from the Lancashire Powerboat Racing Club. And Palfreyman looks pretty in control at the moment. He knows that Curtis is only just a sneeze away at the moment, just up in front. One mistake from Curtis and a victory is possible for Palfreyman. But at the moment, Curtis not showing any signs of making any mistakes whatsoever, and a perfect drive for Scott. So Scott then comfortably driving a race here, dominating Formula 4 in 2012. But really, the scrap is behind for third position. Steve Holt then, in number 40, once again on board with Steve as he trims the engine in, hooks the boat tightly round the top turn, and now look at the gap. You just see there is not much space. You can get about 3 boats between the bank and the island, and it's kind of like a powerboat equivalent to a chicane. So once again, back on board with Matt Palfreyman, still chasing this man, Scott Curtis. Scott Curtis well over halfway through this race now. So on board then with Robert Veers, and this is the back shot from Veers' engine. And Scott Curtis now laps Robert Veers, and there you can see in the actual frame of the picture, number 12 on the outside being lapped by the race leader, Scott Curtis. So the race then pretty much coming to a conclusion with Scott Curtis, who will be happy to get a win under the belt and round the turn one more time. So Scott Curtis then comes up to win heat number 1, but he's still going to be chased to the checkered flag by Palfreyman. Curtis then has done enough in heat 1 to win the first race. Palfreyman, a good drive from him, collects second position. So there's confirmation of the results. Scott Curtis takes the win over Matt Palfreyman, who was second, and third position, a great drive from Steve Holt.
Matt, you were giving chase, but you weren't catching.
He seems to just have a little bit more legs on me, but he's got up and down, so he can lift and raise his engine during the race.
Explain a bit to us. What do you mean by up and down?
You can trim the engine in and out during the race. I've got in and out trim, which moves the engine out and in.
Okay.
But he's got up and down, so we can lift and raise the engine. If you lift the engine, you get more top speed. But if you drop the engine, you get more acceleration. I think the advantage to having it is probably a little bit better, as Scott's just proven. But we'll try some more stuff for tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
The Formula 4 Cats incorporate all the most modern, up-to-date features of powerboats, including their carbon fibre survival cells, something the veterans of the 70 mono class deem completely unnecessary. Mark, would you just come out, if I could disturb you for a minute. And Mark, you race Formula 4 Cats.
Yes.
Then you race these.
Completely different. But all you think about is just either winning or catching the man in front of you.
Is that more fun being out in the fresh air, or do you like being enclosed in your little canopy?
All depends on the conditions. If it's really rough, then the monohulls are good fun. If it's nice and smooth, then the Cats.
And it's quite serious racing, is it? You're trying to win this championship. I don't know, who's causing any trouble so far?
They're all trouble because they're all old. So I'm just the youngest one here, obviously.
Ah,
yeah.
Well, there might be some debate,
Yeah.
birth certificates.
Yeah, no, Jason just looks younger.
Jason, this is your first race in these monos. Are you sure it was a good idea?
Well, not too sure. I'm bringing up the rear, unfortunately.
When did you last race this sort of boat?
This is a different boat, but last time I raced this class was 22 years ago in 1990.
So how fast will these boats go?
Oh, 60 odd.
And how long have you been racing them for?
Well, I started in timing in 1968.
Bill, put your magazine down, will you? This is your wonderful boat behind us. There's not much in the way of creature comforts.
No, it's 31 years old, designed in 1968, and it's still about the best thing you can race in this class. You use the openness of the boat to put your body weight to get you around the corners, to balance it on the straight, and it's totally raw, and it gives everybody a good feel of the water. If you can drive one of these, you can drive anything.
Mike, although we're having a lot of fun, there's a bit of a championship going on here. Are you going to sort out this Williams boy?
Well, there is a bit of a championship going on, but I'm afraid he is a bit too quick for me round here this weekend. We keep trying.
The T850 monohull drivers have 3 heats to get through over the course of the weekend here at the Kingsbury Water Park. And what entertainment and skills these drivers provide for us here. Some great shots on board then briefly with Jason Brewer. But the man to beat in the T850 monohull class really is Mark Williams. And at the moment, you can see how unsteady the boat looks, but Williams makes it look easy from a spectator point of view. Driving one, though, can be a bit of a handful at times. Once again, we ride on board with Jason Brewer. He leans into the corner, Mick Pillow, a great shot on board with him. You can see him wrestle with the steering wheel, but it's Mark Williams who wraps things up then in heat number 1. Heat number 2 with a win already in the bag for Mark Williams, and you can see how tight it is at the start with Billy Owen in Mr. Bill. Almost getting squeezed out, but he takes it wide and tries to pick his own way around the racecourse. But Mark Williams, once again, out in front, dominating the race. 2 in a row for Williams. So can he make it the hat-trick then, as Stuart Williams, no relation to Mark, starts second on the grid? He's always a fast driver. All of these T850 monohull drivers are very, very experienced, and it's all very, very close racing. Mark Williams, though, seems like he won't have it his own way in the 3rd and final race. Billy Owen and David James can do nothing about Williams. Meanwhile, Mick Pillow tries to fight with the wheel, but it is Stuart Williams who is out in front. So Stuart Williams leads the race whilst David James wrestles with the wheel. But Stu Williams, the oldest man in this monohull race, proving that he has still got it and holding off Mike Pillow, Mark Williams and everybody else. But Williams has done enough and he takes the final victory. But it's Mark Williams who wins overall, with Billy Owen 2nd position and 3rd place being awarded to Mick Pillow.
Well, why didn't you win 3 out of 3?
Oh, terrible. Terrible. Beaten by a really old timer. Just couldn't stop and come past. Got a good turn at the first turn and he was just gone. So just chased him all the way then. Hope he made a mistake, but he didn't.
The championship standings are like this. Mark Williams leads the table with Mike Pillow in 2nd position, and 3rd David James, with Billy Owen, Jason Brewer and Matthew Proctor and Matt Wood.
So while the veterans take a well-earned rest, make sure you join us after the break for more Powerboat GP action.